Hello, my valued viewers. You're welcome to my program, Manning for the Truth. Joseph Atta is my name, from Ghana, West Africa. I welcome all my viewers from all over the world: Australia, Dubai, India, South Africa, USA, Ghana, and everywhere. Now I've gone far because my videos are posted almost on all the Churches of Christ platforms. I thank you to I thank you for subscribing to my channel, Manning for the Truth. Please, I need more subscribers, so continue doing so. Manning for the Truth refers to the process of digging to discover the undiluted doctrines of Christ. Our Church of Christ. The page or the channel has two purposes as follows. 1, to teach the word, John 1 verse 1, Genesis 1 verse 1. 2, to teach the truth, John 8:32, John 17:17, John 14 verse 6. The counterpart of John 14 verse 6 is Acts 4 verse 12, that there's no other name under the heavens or the earth. Only Jesus Christ is going to judge the world. That's why it is said in John 14 verse 6 that I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except by me, or no one comes to the Father except through me. I welcome Brother Samuel Kobena, UMAT Church, Itakoradi campus. You are welcome. My brothers have been doing so well. And thank you for subscribing. In fact, they did well. When I was about to reach 100, I was somewhere 81 subscribers. They subscribed and I got to 100 and over. May God bless you so much. In fact, I loved your efforts. Doris Odonko, Mrs. Atta, you are welcome. I miss you so much. I love you very much. And I know you love me too. Having said that, we move straight to today's teachings. But last week was women preachers. And the video is doing well. Actually, that is part of my church's doctrine. So we say the doctrine of Church of Christ. It is not easy for you to understand, especially if you are a believer in the denominational church. And I made emphasis that it is not about gender equality and equity. So women are forbidden to teach during worship, having authority over a man. Having said that, if you want to call me or donate, number is 0248 026557. 0248 026557. God bless all those who have been donating. In fact, someone have bought me a watch, a new watch, about 3 weeks ago. Smartwatch, actually. And it came at the right time because my watch has spoiled. And this came at the right time. Monday coming is 1 month or 3 weeks, I'm sure. Today's topic is selfish ambition. Selfish ambition. And the text is Philippians 2, verse 3 and 4. So I will read. The room is a bit dark because the rain wants to fall. I wouldn't want to on the light anyway. Let nothing be done through rivalry or empty conceits, but in humility of mind, let each esteem others better than themselves. Verse 4. Let each one not look out merely for his own interests, but also for the interests of others. Selfish ambition. One of the Satan's most effective and most divisive weapons against individual Christians, individual congregations, and the Lord's church around the world is the sin of selfish ambition. So Satan can easily disunite the church because of selfish ambition. Jesus spoke of those guilty of this sin. So according to Matthew 6 verse 2, Christ warned us about selfish ambition. So Matthew 6 verse 2. Therefore, when you do good deeds, do not sound a trumpet before you as as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, so that they may be glorified by men. Truly, I say to you, they have their reward. They do good and then they sound trumpets. They stand where people will see them and recognize them, accord them with much respect. And it is because of the very dangers of this arrogant, self-glorifying desire for the praise of men poses that Paul cautioned. 1 Thessalonians 2, verse 6. So let's see what Paul also said. 1 Thessalonians. Okay. Right after Colossians, I think so. So 1 Thessalonians 2, verse 6. Nor did we seek glory from men, either from you or from others. So we're saying that Jesus spoke of those guilty of this sin to do good deeds and then sound trumpet, for people to recognize you, that I bought a car for the church, I did this for that, I built the building for the church. And it is because of the very dangers this arrogant, self-glorifying desire for the praise of men poses. That's why Paul has cautioned us in 1 Thessalonians 2, verse 6, that nor did we seek glory from men, either from you or from others. You do good to please Christ, that's all. Paul had seen the Christ. Paul had established numerous congregations through the preaching of the gospel. Paul was an apostle, but said he did not seek glory from men, as we read in 1 Thessalonians 6, verse 2 verse 6, Why would some elder, preacher, deacon, teacher, or other member of the lost church seek glory from men when Paul would not? So it's a question to you and I, and to all of us. Paul walked with Christ. He saw Christ. He preached the gospel of Christ. But he did not seek glory from men, according to 1 Thessalonians 2, verse 6. So why do we see this nowadays in our churches? The elder is seeking glory, the preacher is seeking glory, the deacon, the teacher. When we say teacher, we mean people who help to teach the Bible, the sermonist, the songs leader. People with little ambition, with some talent to help effect the worship of the Lord. They try to seek attention. Even the young boys have used this opportunity to start sleeping with the girls in various churches. See, it is utter foolishness and completely destructive to seek glory from anyone other than God. Avoid men pleasing. It is utter foolishness and completely destructive to seek glory from anyone other than God. What I'm doing, I do for God. So I don't need anyone to encourage me, and I don't need to blow my own trumpet to brag in my church or wherever I go that I do this for Christ. No. The reward comes from God only. And if we want to be appraised or praised, then only God qualifies to do this. The glory we seek from Him is a glory we do not deserve. What we seek from God, we don't deserve it. We don't qualify to seek glory from God, actually. So if I do something small for God, don't seek praises for it. We breathe freely, life is given freely, everything for us is free. If the air should cease to blow within 1 minute, you see what will happen to the world. And God is giving this to us for free. So if you are working for him, we don't need to sound trumpets for people to know that indeed we are doing this for God. So we say that the glory we seek from him is a glory we do not deserve, and yet it is a glory he will give us if we humbly go about doing his work. So God is going to reward us in humility rather than being arrogant. When you say arrogant, you trying to be important than others. Sometimes you want people to know that you are doing this, I am the one this, I did this and that. It's a feature of arrogant, and someone who is arrogant is not teachable. The person does not want to be taught. He is all known, self-glorifying. That is the glory of the new body, the resurrected body, the body that we will be in heaven with God forever. Romans 8, verse 18 to 25. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 42 to 44. And Philippians 3, verse 8 to 21. When we are humble, then is what the Bible said that is the glory of the new body, the resurrected body, the body that will be in heaven with God forever. So if you don't want this, then continuously let the world know that you have been doing the work of the Lord. Now, if I should go back, we say that the glory we seek from him is a glory we do not deserve, and yet it is a glory he will give us if we humbly go about doing his work. So when we do his work, is when he will give us a glorified body. That's all. That is the only glory we seek. The glory of man is pitiful. It is a pity, pathetic, and useless. Why should I waste my time to wait for my fellow human being to compliment me, to boost my morale before I do God's work? Divided, I stand and multiply. That's all. Divided, I stand and multiply. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So far as I have Christ, I have everything. I don't need anyone to give me money to buy data. If you want to sponsor, it's better. Whether you donate or you don't donate. I come live every Saturday. I come live. Not necessarily that I have to wait for someone to donate before I come. No. If you donate, fine. If you don't, sell. I have to come live to preach. And I don't need anyone to encourage me. I don't need any encouragement from any external sources. I know why I'm doing this. Exegesis 12 verse 1. Remember now the Creator. Before, in the days of their youth, before the evil days approach near. Matthew 6 verse 3. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all this shall be added unto you. Matthew 28 verse 18 to 20. Mark 16 verse 15 to 16. It says, or they are saying that, go ye therefore. My duty is to win souls for Christ, period. And we have methods of evangelism. So example is what I'm doing. Media. You can use WhatsApp. I am using WhatsApp, YouTube, and Facebook. After I'm done, I copy the address and then I post them on my WhatsApp. Both what I've posted on YouTube and in the Facebook. So we have methods of evangelism. And I don't need anyone to support me before. So we think that the glory of men is pitiful, pathetic, you see, and useless, of no value. So pitiful. It is indeed a vain, empty, and selfish glory. It is vain. It is completely vain and empty. There's nothing in it. It contains nothing. And selfish glory, selfish interest. That's why some people also want to do God's work. Initially, they had no thought of doing God's work. When they saw that someone was doing it, because of envy, they also began doing something. You want to attract vain glory because you have not purposed it. The undeserved reward God will give us if we humbly serve him is immeasurably glorious. The undeserved reward God will give us if we humbly serve Him. Someone who is proud and arrogant will never worship God, will never have the mind to start preaching for God because of proud and arrogance. But if you are humble, your eyes will open for you to know that you must live for Christ. Living for Christ. And by being humble, we get immeasurable glory. Immeasurable. So the glory comes to you without you being the rightful person to deserve. God will reward you in His own way, which you don't deserve. And you yourself, you'll be aware that, I don't deserve to have been gotten this position. Now, definition of selfish ambition. It refers to burden oneself while tearing down another's. It is the burden of oneself, or you can say it refers to burden oneself while tearing down another's. So, for example, the person is stepping on someone, suppressing and compressing, so that only him or her will be seen and then acknowledged. That's the essence of selfish ambition. And we have this mostly in many churches. Some brothers are so selfish. They want you to help them, but they want to always win the glory. Where there's glory, they will go. Where there's a donkey work, then they will send you to go. They wouldn't want to reap, sow. But when it is time for reaping, hey, then they will say that it was a teamwork. Meanwhile, they didn't play any part or role. They will reject you. But when it becomes fruitful, they all want to share. The great rewarder is God. He sees the hearts. He knows who really worked. He knows the players, not the spectators. He knows those who were active and those who were passive. So it's not about now we all did it. God knows who did it. It's a self-centeredness. Selfish ambition is self-centeredness. Me first. I want all. Greediness. The person wants to win all the glory. And he becomes so annoyed when presenting an award and he has been exempted. He becomes so annoyed. In fact, sometimes some awards are given not because the person deserves, but because the person will cause trouble. So they also give him an award. It was selfish ambition. Let's go to Psalms 78, verse 18. Psalms 78, verse 18. Okay. So Psalm 17, verse 18. I read. They tested God in their hearts by demanding the food they craved. So we say that it was selfish ambition which motivated the Israelites to willfully put God to test by demanding the food they craved. Can you imagine that the Israelites tested God because of their selfish ambition? How can you test God? They tested him for the food they craved for, craving for the food because of selfish ambition. It was selfishness that caused the rich young ruler to turn his back on Jesus Christ. Matthew 19, verse 21 and 22. Matthew 19. Verse 21 and 22. Jesus said to him, if you want to be perfect, go and sell what you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. Verse 22. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. He was selfish. He was not willing to share or to give away what he had and to follow Christ. How can you follow Christ when you are overloaded? So Christ was telling him to offload himself, to become lighter in weight, and follow him. He went out away and came no more. He went and returned no more. He was so sad. He thought Christ was going to tell him to multiply his wealth. But rather, Christ wanted him to strip off and then follow him. So he went and returned no more. It was a selfish ambition. He wasn't willing to let go. He wasn't willing to share. He wanted everything to himself. Me first, I want all. At least you have this as the understanding of selfish ambition. Objective of the studies: to exegete Philippians 2 verse 3 and 4. B, to recognize the 10 characteristics of the selfish, ambitious person. Then C, to comprehend the 4 drawbacks of the selfish ambition or selfishness. I was trying to warm up. We're now going to start the main studies. A, exegesis of Philippians 2 verse 3 and 4. The word selfish or the word selfish ambition in the New King James Version translate the Greek word kinodosia. I'll repeat again. The word selfish ambition in the New King James Version translates the Greek word kinodosia or kenodosia. This is a compound word made up of keno, K-E-N-O, which means vain or empty. You don't want to. Very soon I'll have a board, so I'll be writing all this in there. I'm waiting for my board to start the book of Exegesis, because there are some words that I have to write on board for people to see. So I apologize for that. In fact, in my own way, I thought that this January I was going to start teaching on the board, but my board is still on the way. My brother is doing, and he has not finished. I'm sorry. Some words must be written on the board so that people can view and understand. That's why I try to spell. So forgive me. I prefer to stand to teach than sitting. So this year, the idea was that I was going to stand to teach. So when the board is in, please, I will stand and then I'll teach on the board. So keno means vain or empty. And doxa. Now, W.E. Vine's Expository Dictionary of the New Testament words defines doxa or doxa as the honor resulting from a good opinion. Honor resulting from a good opinion. And keno means vain or empty. So kenodosia has been explained. We continue. The New Thayer's Greek English lexicon defines doxa as praise or honor coming to someone. When a praise or honor is coming to you, the Greek word is doxa. And when this glory is empty or vain, we say keno or kino. The idea of selfish ambition, kenodosia, is the idea of someone seeking praise and honor which is empty. That is, empty glorifying, which is self-conceit or vainglory. It is empty because it is of no value. Valueless. Valueless. That someone is seeking praise and honor, and it is empty. Why? Because it is empty glorifying, or it is empty glorying, which is self-conceit or vain glory. It is of no value. The person is dying for. There are some people who can even go on further to seek or to pressure that people should recognize them. Those who seek to be glorified and honored by men in the church are those who are guilty of kenodosia. Vainglory. That's what the King James Version will say. Those who seek to be glorified and honored by men in the church are those who are guilty of kenodosia. So we are hereby saying that anybody in the lost church who wants to be applauded, or who wants applause, who wants glory, and the person who can do this proud and arrogant, you are guilty of kenodosia. Too many men and women in the lost church are seeking the empty glory and praise of men. It is true. Based on their qualification, the education level, their status, maybe by being given frequent appointment to teach. Always have been saying that. I have been saying Father does not attend church because of appointment. In fact, if you don't force me, I'll turn it down. My mind is not there. I have my own purpose for going to church or going to church. I go there to worship, period. And that has ended. I have money for the two to teach better topics. I teach here better topics. And standing on the pulpit to teach or to give sermon does not make you righteous. Does not mean you are going to heaven. Does not mean you are the most eloquent. So, why should I waste my time to go and then lobby for appointment, or to question, why have you refused to give me an appointment? Impossible. I will never do that because I don't have time for it. When you think and you know that is my time and you give me, in case I'm not traveling and I'm free, I will do it. But I don't go to church or I don't attend church because of appointments. Now, the studies is trying to show that people who do that, they want to be known and appraised by men. So we are saying that too many men and women in the lost church are seeking the empty glory and praise of men. Empty, it is empty because it is from human beings and not from God. It is empty. They want to be viewed as big shots in the local church. Yes, they matter most. They are the dignitaries or important people among many brethren. I think this already I've explained. I've been to university. I've done this. I am a preacher. I attend Bible college. I do this. So I teach. I lecture. I stand to talk to people in auditorium. So I have the ability to give a public speech. They want to be viewed as big shots in the local church or important people among many brethren. We are trying to exegete Philippians 2 verse 3 and 4. They want to be looked up to and praised by other Christians and recognized to be something great. Yes. When you fail to address them properly, you are in trouble. And they always desire that you come to them or you go to them to narrate your problems to them, and then they will give you advice. They are selfish, and it is a form of selfish ambition. It is evil. Such vainglory seekers are guilty of selfish ambition and are arrogant and foolish. Such vainglory seekers are guilty of selfish ambition. They are the culprits of selfish ambition. They are arrogant and they are foolish. These selfishly ambitious people inevitably hurt the church. We don't find you're doing in the lost church. What you are doing is not found in the church. This reminds me of Absalom when he appeared to be someone who was better than his father. So he sat at the gate. So those who were entering the palace with their issues, he pretended that he could rather give them better solutions. So he resembled someone who was having selfish ambition. And of course, it was true. He won their hearts, and at the end, he was able to plot a coup against his own father. He sacked him from his kingdom, and he died at the end anyway. Such vainglory seekers are guilty of selfish ambition and are arrogant and foolish. These selfishly ambitious people unavoidably or inevitably hurt the church. Now, Taya says, Kenodosia means groundless self-esteem and empty pride. I don't use commentaries to learn Bible. I have never ever used commentary before. I'm not here to condemn commentary. Some are good, but I don't use commentary to learn my Bible. In fact, I have never ever done that before. I use my common sense, given to me by God. James 1 verse 5. That if you need wisdom, ask God, because He gives it liberally. So God gave me the wisdom. But I use concordance and Bible dictionaries. One thing I love most is concordance and Bible dictionaries. That's what I'm saying. Thea. I mentioned Thea. I mentioned WE. Once again, Thea says Kenodosia means groundless self-esteem and empty pride. Groundless self-esteem, me first, I want all, and empty pride. Zodiacs defines it as desire for praise. You know the zodiac? Okay, maybe you must not know. So zodiac defines it as a desire for praise. Someone who is longing for. So the person is dying for. He cannot stay. She can't stay unless he or she has been praised. We have this in the churches a lot. Sometimes they even give an appointment, but they don't qualify. They come to the pulpit to mess up, to crack jokes, as if we are in the home watching cartoons. They have turned the pulpit into national theater. Laughter. When worship turns into that, it becomes vain worship. That someone who is not well versed with the Bible has been given appointment. Maybe because of money. The person has money and influence. So by force, he or she will, when she speaks, and then the whole congregation is happy. Oh, let's call this person to also bring out his or her idea. Do you call, when soliciting for ideas, do you call or should be voluntary? Why should you call one person? Allow the members to come up with their own ideas. But here we call. Desire for praise. And when they speak, whether what they have said is good or wrong, they want it to be accepted as it is. Such people want to be told they are so much more important than others. This is what you're trying to prove. Or call this, okay, so sister, so brother, you bring it. So what do you think? Don't force him or her to talk. Sometimes the person's mind is not even on what she or he has no idea, but because the person has been called, he or she must force to say something. These individuals want to be elevated above fellow Christians. So elevation, magnification, they wanted to be lifted, to be promoted above other Christians. Those guilty of this sin love the praise and glory of men. They are shallow and empty. They know nothing. And this is for a fact. They claim to know something only to expose their ignorance. They are empty. They are just empty. They know nothing. In fact, when they start to teach, within 5 minutes, then you see that, why was he given appointment? Why was she appointed to take this? By the first 5 minutes, you see that he or she has nothing better to tell or to teach or to say. They are shallow and empty. They are hollow. I mean, there's a hole in them. They are hollow. There's a hole, more or less a tube. And they know nothing. They don't have in-depth knowledge. They don't have mastery. They don't show mastery of the content at all. They think they are big, but they are small. They think they are big. So you see that they have money, they have businesses, they have this, they come to church with big cars. So they think they are big. Yes, indeed you are big by men. But you are small before Christ and God. They think they are everything when they are nothing. We can live without you. The church can function without them. So what is the problem? Christ does not need only you to grow his church. They think they are everything when they are nothing. They puff themselves up with power and influence. Then they go about seeking to wield that influence, possibly not realizing their actions are destructive to the unity of the Lord's church and endangering to their own souls. Yes, because they form groups and preferably they choose whom they want to call them to attend their function, to attend functions with. You bring disunity in the church. In the church we are all one. But when some people are classified as the most vital, they become proud and arrogant. So selectively, they choose whom they want. People in the same status with them. But Christ even came for sinners. Christ was not interested even in those who were wealthy, but those who were poor. Are you following Christ, or you are being antichrist? And they endangered their own soul because pride will lead you to hell. In fact, it was pride that changed the angel into devil. He was proud and arrogant. So the devil was proud and arrogant. It was pride that turned the angel into devil. Simple. And because of a human applause, you forget to be humble. God hates proud or pride. God hates the pride or the proud. Sorry, God hates the proud. So if you are having pride in you, in your heart, he hates you. So as you are being complimented by the audience, you will lose your salvation. That's the saying that, and endangering their own souls, you may end up in hell unknowingly, because now your interest is the praise of men than being humble for God to raise you. No, you want the men to uplift you. The Greek words used in Philippians 2 verse 3 and 4 describe an excessive desire to gain for power, for authority, and for prestige. So the kenodesia, being the Greek words used in Philippians 2 verse 3 and 4 to represent the selfish ambition, describe an excessive desire to gain. So to gain something, I must impress the preacher to select me as his favorite. It is a form of selfish ambition. For power, so that when I speak, since I am with the preacher, since I am with the elders, since I am with the pastors, when I speak, my fellow members will hear. For authority, to command. For prestige, high esteem. When they see you, then they bow down. When even they see you coming, they stand aside for you to pass. They don't mind asking you to drive your car elsewhere because he or she wants to park his or her Porsche car where you have parked yours already. It denotes selfish or self-serving interests and aspirations. And it is true. The person wanted his own interest. So for all what he had been doing, not knowing that he was looking for his own interest, self-serving interests and aspirations. I want to reach this far. It tells us to avoid pride, arrogance, selfishness. Be humble and help others. This is the summary of the text used for this teaching. Philippians 2, verse 3 and 4. That we should avoid pride, we should avoid arrogance, we should avoid selfishness, be humble, and help others. That's all. Because if you are proud, it becomes so difficult to help your brother. You are hereby informed that in Matthew, I think 19:21 to 22, the rich young ruler went and came no more. He wasn't humble. He was not willing to help a brother. So he went away and returned no more. B. Characteristics. 10 characteristics of the selfish, ambitious person. 10. 1. He is egotistical. Egotistical. That's number 1. He sees himself always the most vital. He sees himself always the most vital, exaggerated opinion of his own importance. He exaggerates himself. And he is the most vital. If he is not in, there's no substance. If he is not in church, it means that the church did not worship. He sees himself as the first and the best and superior to others. Ezekiel 28, verse 16. Lucifer, right? I'm sure it's about a Lucifer. Ezekiel. Okay, so Ezekiel 28, verse 16. Okay. In the abundance of your trade, you were filled with violence in your midst, and you sinned. So I cast you as a profane thing from the mountain of God, and I destroyed you, O guardian cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Lucifer means fallen angel, that's all. The morning star. So Lucifer means the fallen angel and then the morning star. Before God created the world, he created the heavens. The archangels were the highest ranking angels. The chief messenger was God himself. Lucifer was the highest ranking officer of all the angels in the beginning. So Lucifer was an archangel. Before he was defeated, then Angel Michael came, in case you're unaware. And Ezekiel 28 verse 16, I'm using to describe that a selfish, ambitious person is egotistical. He sees himself as the first and best and superior to others. So the text is Ezekiel 20 verse 16, and you are using Lucifer. So if you are a selfish, ambitious person, it means you are equaling Lucifer. Lucifer was the highest ranking officer of all the angels in the beginning. He was described as being the most beautiful creature that God had ever created. He was the most handsome among all the angels and superior to them all. First in command, actually. A splendid being that was perfect in every way. He was so perfect. But now is even describing him as beautiful. How can you describe a man as beautiful? It means the person has surpassed handsome. Lucifer was so handsome, very good, divine, and so strong compared to his peers. As I said, he was the most strongest among all the angels. Lucifer became prideful. You see, due to this, based on these qualities, he became prideful and began to attempt to overthrow God. He began to attempt to overthrow God. So can you imagine? He formed an ally or allies because he was superior to them. And then they joined forces with him. Lucifer understood God more than any other god. Thus, he thought there was no one else better to overthrow his master. Let's go to Isaiah 14, verse 12 to 14. Isaiah. Okay, Isaiah 14. That should be after a book of Exegesis, I think. So Isaiah 14, verse 12 to 14. How you are fallen from heaven, O day star, son of dawn. How you are cut down to the ground, you who lead the nations low. 13. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven, above the stars of God. I will set my throne on high. I will sit on the mount of assembly in the far reaches of the earth. Verse 14. I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will make myself like the Most High. So this is Lucifer. He thought there was no other one else better to overthrow his master. It was self-ambition, as we are teaching. It was selfish or self-ambition that led to pride, which blinded Lucifer. And his arrogance will cause him to manipulate the other angels into serving him. Yes, he won them. I'm so also in the Lord's church. In fact, it is so dangerous that if you're not careful, someone will use you to achieve his selfish aim in the church. I always have been saying that I can work with you many years, but I can't buy my conscience. I have no master in this life. I have no master. If I'm moving with you, then maybe we have been doing something special for God, and that is my interest. Aside that, I have no business with you again. Yes. And when I'm working with someone, I work with a person based on strength, not weakness. Maybe pride and arrogance are your weakness. No, that one, I won't buy into it. But maybe you love to do God's work. That one, I will be into it. But unfortunately, when you are working with someone who has these two opposing characters or attitude, they assume that you support him in both. However, it is not so. I don't sell my conscience to anybody, and I've never sold my conscience to anybody. So we think that by repeating, we're saying that it was selfish ambition that led to pride, which blinded Lucifer, and his arrogance would cause him to manipulate other angels into serving him. There are some people in the church who wants you to serve them, to worship them. His knowledge was more superior than all other angels. The fallen angels began to identify Lucifer as more superior than God. So you can imagine. Are you being seen more superior than the preacher in the church? Are you being seen as more superior than the elder in the church? Are you seen to be more superior than the pastors or the elders, the bishops in your church or churches? This is the attitude of Lucifer, and it is as a result of selfish ambition. And on and on and on. If they are not stopped, this person can destroy the church, can become an integral to that. The preacher must be sacked. Why do you want him sacked? Is it for your selfish interest or what? If he's not doing the right thing, fine. But if you don't like him, God likes him. You understand? The church is for Christ. And whatever the preacher, the elder does, the deacon does being wrong, Christ will judge. You are not Christ. So stop being judgmental and let him be. You can advise him, but do not plot a coup against this person. God did not create evil. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. So sometimes people have been thinking it was Satan who brought evil into this life. In summary, that did God create evil? If I don't waste my time to search into such childish questions, that did God create evil? What do you mean by that? Why should you think so? That God will create evil. For what? Evil was created by Satan when he began to overthrow God. When he became so proud and arrogant, was when the evil started. To overthrow means that you have an evil ambition. That's all. Because initially God was living with Satan so peacefully until he began to talk negatively. So God did not create a good tree bears good fruit. A bad fruit bears bad fruit, in summary. Now, according to Isaiah 14, verse 16 and 14, you can identify 5 eyes. 5 eyes. Eyes. Are self-ambition for Lucifer. So, A, I will ascend into heaven. When I was reading, you heard it. Or go and read. Isaiah 14, verse 13 and 14. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Still on I will also sit. He also wants to be seen as a king. D, I will ascend above the height of the clouds. It's I. And the last one being E, I will be similar to the Most High. So when you read Isaiah 14, verse 13 and 14, you get 5 eyes. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Above the stars of God. Can you imagine? I will sit. I will also sit. That's on the mountain. On the far north or on the far east. I say far east. The farthest side of the north. I will ascend above the height of the clouds. So he will even surpass the crowd. Go there and then sit there. So you'll be sitting on the head of God, actually. I will be similar to the Most High. So it means that they will be the same. 2. We are looking at 10 features of self-ambitious person. 2. He is arrogant. He is arrogant. 2 Samuel 15. I think I mentioned the story of Absalom when I was doing the intro, if I remember correctly. So 2 Samuel 15, verse 1 to 6. I will read to your hearing. After this, Absalom got himself a chariot and horses and 50 men to run before him, 2. And Absalom used to rise early and stand beside the way of the gate. And when any man had a dispute to come before the king for judgment, Absalom would call to him and say, "From what city are you?" And when he said, your servant is of such and such a tribe in Israel. Verse 3. Absalom would say to him, see, your claims are good and right, but there is no man designated by the king to hear you. Verse 4. Then Absalom would say, oh, that I were judge in the land. Then every man with a dispute or cause might come to me, and I would give him justice. Verse 5. And whenever a man came near to pay homage to him, he would put out his hands and take hold of him and kiss him. Verse 6. Thus Absalom did to all Israel who came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. Arrogance, so the person is arrogant. 2, he is arrogant. Absalom was arrogant. Now go to my previous teachings. I taught about do not love the world as the theme. And topic was be careful how you walk as wise and not a fool. I tweeted about Absalom, King Solomon, Dinah, and Samson. You can also find these videos. I downloaded from Facebook. Of course, I tweeted this last year. I've downloaded them and then they have been uploaded on YouTube. When you go there, you see them. The quote is, do not be foolish. So go to My Name for the Truth, Facebook and YouTube, and then you see. So I said that Absalom, blinded by arrogant also. I think so. He was arrogant. So the person who is selfishly ambitious is arrogant. He sees all others as inferior. So he told the Israelites that there's no man designated to hear your claims except I, Absalom. So also this person will behave in the church. Only I can teach this. Only I can answer this. Only I can prove this. Only I can judge this. Only I can do that better. The person is seeking self-vain, empty glory. Number 3, he is proud. 1 Kings 1 verse 5. We are in the house of David, actually. Of course, David was a poor father who could not rebuke or reprimand his children. So, when considering fathers in some ways, fathers who were irresponsible or who failed to train their children in the Lord, you can mention David. Same David too can be mentioned as a father who was responsible because he directed Solomon to walk in the statute of God. So we can have some portion of him being good, some portion to being bad. Now 1 Kings 1 verse 5. Now Adonijah, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, I will be the king. And he prepared for himself chariots and horsemen and 50 men to run before him. Here David was dying, and he was to select the next of king. He thought he was the rightful heir or the next of king. Because King David had forcibly raped Bathsheba and killed her husband Uriah, he promised him of King Solomon being the king. So David denied Adonijah and then rather installed King Solomon. But here we see that even though Adonijah was the next of king, he should have waited, okay, for the king to say or to pronounce him the king. Then he himself proclaimed himself to be king. This made him proud. Verse 4. He is not teachable, but defensive, leading to foolish behavior. The same 1 Samuel 13, verse 8 to 13. First Samuel 13, verse 8 to 13. Of course, about Saul. He waited 7 days, the time appointed by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people were scattering from him. Verse 9. So Saul said, bring the burnt offering here to me, and the peace offerings. And he offered the burnt offering, Verse 10. As soon as he had finished offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came, and Samuel went out to meet him and greet him. Verse 11. Samuel said, what have you done? And Saul said, when I saw that the people were scattering for me, and that you did not come within the days appointed, and that the Philistines had mastered at Michmash. Verse 12. I said, now the Philistines will come down against me at Gilgal, and I have not sought the favor of the Lord. So I forced myself and offered the burnt offering. And someone said to him, you have done foolishly. You have not kept the command of the Lord your God, with which he commanded you. For then the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. You have done foolishly, was what Samuel replied to Saul. Saul was so hasty. He wasn't the one to offer. He was to wait for Samuel because of selfish ambition. And Saul never accepted his fault. So someone who is selfish, he is not teachable, but defensive. And when you defend yourself, it will lead you into foolishness. So the behavior of Saul was full of foolishness. So he said, verse 18, that you have done foolishly. 5. He pretends to have all. We are still on features of selfishly or selfish ambitious person. Genesis 27 verse 27. Genesis 27 verse 27. He pretends to have all. So he came near and kissed him, and Isaac smelled the smell of his garment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field that the Lord had blessed. So, you see. So here, Isaac was deceived. Okay. Now, if you want to read further, I think it's a story of Jacob and then Esau. When Isaac wanted to bless the first son, he sent the first son to go and kill Esau, to come and then prepare food for him, and then he was going to bless him. They divided the family. So Esau was to Isaac, Jacob was to Rebekah, and then Rebekah made Jacob to pose as Esau, and then he went to take the blessings of his senior brother Esau. He pretended to have all. Meanwhile, he was not. He was a hypocrite. He used the animal skin, to cover himself, because Esau was more hairy. So, but all the same, Isaac felt that no, you are not Esau. But because he was visually impaired, I would say partially blind, so he couldn't see. You see, I thought Isaac would have waited. Okay, so let's wait. If you are saying you are Jacob, if you are Esau, if you are saying you are Esau, let's wait for Jacob. At least he should have waited for all the two to be present, and then they themselves would have choose the right person. But of course, this was God's will. I am not adding. I am just using my common sense that at least Isaac could have waited to have the two in presence of him, because if Esau was there and has seen that Jacob has used the skin of animal, he would have stripped him of this animal skin, and then Isaac could have felt the natural skin. One hairy, one not hairy. All right, we move on. Now, 6. He loves to take credit. Numbers 20, verse 10. And then, and 11. And then, Daniel 29, verse. Daniel 4, verse 29 and 30. I think David and then Nebuchadnezzar, I'm sure. So, Numbers. He loves to take the credit. Numbers. Numbers 20, verse 10 and 11. Then Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, "Hear now, you rebels, shall we bring water for you out of this rock?" Verse 11. And Moses lifted up his hand and struck the rock with his staff twice, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their livestock. Now from here, now go to the Daniel. Christ was the rock. Christ is the rock. He told Moses to point. But Moses, because of selfish ambition, he wanted to take the credit. So he said, "Hear now, you rebels, shall we?" So it means that himself and then Aaron, you Moses, can you bring out water? The rock was Christ. The rock is Christ. He said, point. He struck. So Moses was killing Jesus Christ. Gross impudence. And because of this, he was prevented from reaching Canaan. He saw it, but he didn't reach there. Now, if you want to understand this, go to my teachings on 2 covenants. The old covenant versus the new one. And you see that I made it Jesus versus Moses. Now we go to Daniel. Daniel 4, verse 29 and 30. At the end of 12 months, he was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon. 30. And the king answered and said, "Is not this great Babylon, which I have built by my mighty power, as a royal residence, and for the glory of my majesty?" Nebuchadnezzar was walking majestically on his roof. And when he saw what he has achieved, he thought it came by his own interest. So see what he said. And the king answered and said, "Is not this great Babylon, which I have built by my mighty power, as a royal residence, and for the glory of my majesty?" He thought he built the temple or the palace, sorry. And before he ended, a voice came from above, and he was turned into a beast to chew or to become a herbivore for 7 years. And later, when he came back to a normal state as a human being, he worshipped God. He humbled himself before God. Someone who is selfishly ambitious loves to take all the credit. 7. He uses people for dishonest gain. Matthew 26, verse 14 to 16. Mark 14, 44 to 46. Luke 22, verse 47 and 48. So I think it's about Judas betraying Jesus Christ. So if you go to my previous teaching, last 2 weeks, living with a mask, with a sermon on Judas, living with a mask. So Matthew 26. And I use the same text. So I remembered. 26, verse 14 to 16. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests, verse 15, and he said to them, "What will you give me, and I will deliver him to you? What will you give me, and I will deliver him to you? And they weighed out to him 30 pieces of silver, verse 16. Then from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. He uses people for dishonest gain. This person is a rebel leader, but he is underground. He can recruit. He lays low and will always want to use people. He wants to prank people against the superiors. Verse 8. He feels entitled to success. The same Matthew 4, verse 9. Matthew 4, verse 9. And he said to him, "All these things I will give you if you fall down and worship me." So, Satan was trying to tempt Jesus Christ. He feels entitled to success. So, Satan wanted to trick his master Jesus Christ. But he couldn't. Because Satan is selfishly ambitious. 9. Winning is relevant than loving. Winning is relevant than loving. So instead of him to be humble, to love, he is proud and arrogant to win. 2 Samuel 15, verse 14. 2 Samuel 15, verse 14. Then David said to all his servants who were with him at Jerusalem, "Arise and let us flee, or else there will be no escape for us from Absalom. Go quickly, lest he overtake us quickly and bring down ruin on us, and strike the city with the edge of the sword." So you see the power of someone who is selfishly ambitious. Absalom has succeeded in sacking his own father from his own kingdom. Now, the story of David and then Absalom can be classified as a loving father and a rebellious son. David loved Absalom genuinely, but the result was that Absalom turned against him. And for Absalom, he wanted to win than to love his father back. This is a feature of someone who has selfish ambition. Verse 10, he's condemning. 2 Kings 1 verse 2. He's condemning. Oh, he condemns everything. Everything he will condemn. And he isn't condemning because the person is not doing right. But whatever the person does, it's not good. So 2 Kings 1 verse 2. Now Ahaziah fell through. Now Ahaziah fell through the lattice in his upper chamber. In Samaria, and lay sick. So he sent messengers telling them, "Go inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover from this sickness." You see, Prophet Elijah was alive. So if you are ill, do you seek your cure from God or from lesser God? So instead of Ahaziah calling Elijah to come to his aid, he was rather looking for a guard, lesser guard, to heal him. Wasn't he condemning? He was choosing evil over good. He was choosing Satan over Elijah. Someone who is selfish will condemn the righteous, will chase away someone who does the right thing. The person will create a barrier between himself and then someone who has been doing the right thing in the church. And rather, he will surround himself with those who are doing something evil. And this is a feature of Jezebel. You see, Jezebel dying with false prophet, idol worshippers. And rather, the same person was hunting Elijah. So, any member in the Lord's church who hates to relate with members who are rather doing God's work and surrounding himself with those who are evil is selfish, ambitious person. He's condemning. Why would a king, and why would this king rather sought lesser God to heal him than the man of God, Elijah? So he's condemning. And King Ahazia was selfish, ambitious person. If you're in the Lord's church and your nature is the same as King Ahazia, then the teaching is saying that you are selfishly ambitious. See, the 4 drawbacks of the selfish, ambitious, or selfishness. A selfish ambition or selfishness. Sorry, I have to grieve my throat anyway. Once again, biomedicals, we should not wait to feel thirsty before we drink water. So I was trying to lubricate anyway. See, the 4 drawbacks of the selfish, ambition, or selfishness. 1, it ruins friendship. Proverbs 18 verse 1. It ruins friendship. Proverbs 18 verse 1. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. Yes. So selfish ambition ruins friendship. Because of his not all, in fact, and people of this nature are classified as antisociable. Yes, they are antisociable. However, not all the antisociable people are selfishly ambitious. But here, the person intentionally isolates himself. This means that he is planning something evil. 2, it hinders prayers. James 4 verse 3. Okay, 4 verse 3. You ask and do not receive, because you ask with wrong motives, so that you may consume it upon your pleasures. When you ask, but already you are seeking something evil. So why will God listen to your prayer? You are asking with the wrong motive. So therefore, being selfish, ambitious person, it will hinder your prayers. Point 3. It is the product of earthly wisdom. The same James 3 verse 18. Who is a wise and understanding man among you? Let him show by good behavior his works in meekness of wisdom. The person is selfishly ambitious. How can he be? How can he be someone with wisdom? He is looking for self-gratification, even though he's among the audience. But his behavior and his works is of no meekness. His behavior is out of humility, rather proud and arrogance. 4. It leads to riots, coup d'etat, and rebellion from the deprived. 2 Samuel, 18 verse 14. 2 Samuel 18 verse 14. Joab said, I will not waste time like this with you. And he took 3 javelins in his hand and thrust them into the heart of Absalom while he was still alive in the oak. Yes. You see, Absalom bent the field of Joab. Number 2, he removed him from the army commander, and I think he installed Amasa. So Joab took vengeance. He was warned by David that he must do diligently with his son Absalom. So there was a war between David and then Absalom. The soldiers of Absalom and then the soldiers of David. So when Absalom saw that he was being defeated, he was running away with, we would say, donkey. He has long hairs and was caught by the branches of a tree. So he was hanging and alive. So Joab, they were nephews. Yes, they were half brothers. No, Absalom was the son of David, and David's nephew was Joab. Yeah, so they were family members, I would say. So by all means, they were brothers, but not from the same parent, actually. So Joab was the right person to have freed Absalom, but because Absalom had not dealt with him rightly in the past, how can you burn his field? All because he sent for him twice and then he didn't come. So you can imagine how Absalom was proud and arrogant. That because Joab refused to attend to his call, he burned his field. Number 2, he removed him from being army commander. So Joab had resentment in his heart that I will avenge this boy in the future. And he got the right opportunity. He didn't spare him. You see, they were cousins, actually. Yes, they were cousins. So he killed Absalom. And he charged his men to also strike him dead. So it leads to riot, coup d'etat, and rebellion from the deprived. Yes, when you are selfishly ambitious in a church, you are so annoying, and some members will plot a coup against you. Yes, with time, they will plot a coup against you. So don't be surprised. A small boy can plot a coup against you because you have become unbecoming. You are so annoying. So therefore, they want you out. Even though you may be doing something good, they will still want you out. You go out with your troubles because you have been a burden on them for long. So this can even lead to chaos. There could be quarrel, there could be fights, misunderstanding, whilst or doing church service or at the church. And when there's riot, it will definitely lead to coup. And the coup will lead to rebel. And the end is that they will take you off. Whether you have done good in the past or not, they want you out of their way. They just want you out. So go, just go with your troubles and then they are free. Now, conclusion. Selfish ambition causes elders to seek authority above the other elders and to have their way no matter the cost. Yes, even among the leadership of the churches, there are sometimes strife between them. Elder A is wealthy than Elder B. So at a meeting, Elder A wants his opinions to be accepted by force than Elder B. It is because of a selfish ambition. He thinks he has authority over his own fellow saints in Christ, of which they have the same status and the same qualification. For this reason, we are told elders are not to be self-willed. Titus 1 verse 7. Selfish ambition causes preachers to become jealous of other preachers and works. So we have one preacher who is envying another preacher. How I wish that was the one, or I'm the one in this church. Preachers with selfish ambition view their jobs as a profession in which one must climb the ladder rather than a way of life. Yes, they want to become the most famous. If it is in Ghana, he alone wants to be known by all congregations. Wherever you go, he wants you to know that he has been there before. To which one is wholly devoted. So we think that preachers with selfish ambition view their jobs as a profession in which one must climb the ladder rather than a way of life, to which one is wholly devoted. It is a call for devotion, not for supremacy, to rule, to have power, fame, and an authority to command. No. This is why Paul reminds us that preachers are to be considered servants of Christ and stewards of the gospel. 1 Corinthians 4 verse 1 and 2. So preachers are to be considered servants of Christ and stewards of the gospel. Are you so? If you're a preacher, listen to me. Are you a servant of Christ and steward of the gospel? Or you are seeking supremacy? Selfish ambition can cause men and women in the local congregation and in the church as a whole to bring about caustic, bitter, and divisive attitudes that destroy the unity of the church. Yes, if you go there, we have different groups. So this woman has this group, this man has this group, a whole lot. So there's bitterness in them. There's division. You see this in their behavior, in their attitudes, and they destroy the unity of the church. When you destroy the church's unity, you are confronting Christ. So therefore, Paul tells all Christians, as we read in Philippians 2 verse 3, let nothing be done through selfish ambition. Nothing should be done through selfish ambition. So today we looked at selfish ambition from Philippians 2 verse 3 to 4. The exegesis, we said that the word is, there are two, selfish and an ambition. So kenodosia, and the kenodosia is from a compound word. So keno means vain or empty, and then the dosia was defined many a time. So as a place of honor coming onto someone. We saw 10 features of someone who is selfishly ambitious, and then we have also seen the 4 drawbacks. At least you are hereby informed that when you seek something by selfish means, there's a coup d'etat for you. There's a riot awaiting you. So it is best to shun selfish ambition. People who are selfishly ambitious, you move with them and I work with them, they will never give you a chance to participate. always they want to be the person to be heard. When they are not there, the program is at halt. The program will never continue. Unless he is there to suppress you, then he will tell you to accompany him ahead. But when he is not there, he will not give you the chance to go and then also showcase your talent. So it is more or less a master and then a servant. Please, as you are doing so, those that you see as your subjects, they become wiser. And they're going to rebel against you. Because you are wasting their time. That's number one. And number two, you think that you are the only person who is eloquent. You are the only person who thinks can do something better. So therefore, they will all desert you. And you'll be alone. When you are alone, then you see that, hey, so these people or this person was really supporting me. But I didn't know. Had I known, it's always at last. It's a foolish man saying. On this note, we end our teaching on selfish ambition. Next week, God's willing, I'll come your way with go ye therefore. Matthew 28, verse 18 to 20. And then Mark 16, verse 15 to 16. Until then, my name is Joseph Atta. See you next time. Bye-bye.